Hi, this is George Durkee, video 3 for GIS and making maps at Columbia College in Sonora, California. And today's video will be adding GPS tracks and geotagged photos to ArcGIS Explorer desktop. And Arc Explorer desktop has a pretty cool feature where you can both easily add a GPX file, which you get from either a handheld GPS device, or you can download a free track logger from for your smartphone, and the GPS on your smartphone will record tracks either at a timed interval, like every 30 seconds or 1 minute or something like that, or at a distance interval. And there's a few of those out there. I just started using one I'm experimenting with, and it seems pretty good. And I will post the name on the Canvas site. So if you open Arc Explorer, choose, the first thing you do, of course, is choose your base map, and you can change your base map at any time. I'm actually going to start with imagery here. And a good practice is to immediately save it. Your Arc Explorer comes up with my default map is what it comes up with every time. But you want to give it a name, because you'll start crowding out all the features you start putting into my default map. So save it and give it a new name. And Arc Explorer saves as a default to, you'll notice here, your users, your name, documents folder, and Arc Explorer under documents, and the extension is NMF. And you can do that, and that's no problem. But you can also, a good practice is, if you guys have downloaded the GIS data folder, you might want to save it there, just so you have all of your geospatial data in one place. So that's under your C drive, GIS data, and there's a folder that comes with that download called projects. And I've already given it a name, but let's just call it class 2, and save it. And now you're ready to bring in your GPS data. A couple of ways of doing that. You can bring it straight in as a GPX file. So if you've been recording it on your smartphone, and look for a smartphone program that records it in GPX file extension, and that's the standard, and that's what you want to use. If you have a Garmin or some other brands, they also will record in GPX. Some other GPS devices record in their own proprietary format, and you have to use their software utility that comes with it to convert it to GPX. But right now we're just going to work with GPX rather than go into the zillion file extension types out there. So one utility that I really like, and I'll show you why in a moment, is DNR Garmin. So I have, let's get rid of all that. I've hooked up my GPS device. It's a Garmin eTrex to a USB cable, and I have DNR GPS utility. It's a free download, and I'll show you why it's kind of useful in a moment here. So the first thing I'm going to do is download all of the tracks off of my Garmin here. And so the first thing you'd do is you'd go to GPS, and you'd have it find your GPS. I've already done that. Notice it comes up here, Garmin eTrex. And then I'm going to go to track and download all of the track files, and it gives you your choice here. I'm going to download the current GPS file, which is just a running file that records all of the tracks you set. What you're going to want to do, and again, I'll show you why it's important, is that each time you you have a project or you record a mountain bike trip or a climb or something like that, you want to go to your current GPX file on your device, and you want to save it, give it a name and a date or whatever, and then clear all of the existing GPS data on there. If you let it keep running endlessly and forever, you end up with a spaghetti mess, which I'll demonstrate here. So I'm highlighting current and then OK. And so it's downloaded 3,000 individual points for the track log. And then I go to File, and I save to. I'm going to save it to a file here. And I've already saved it once, so I gave it a date, my name, the fact that I'm saving all of the points, and that I'm saving it as points versus waypoints, or sometimes you'll want to create a line out of it, and that's I'll show you that in a little bit here. Anyway, save. I'm just going to overwrite it, and then the dialog box comes up whether you're saving waypoints, tracks, or routes, and we're saving tracks, and then OK. Oh, and one thing, I won't go back there, but the file type, well, I guess I will go back. Save to file. You want to make sure you have a whole bunch of save as types here, so you can save it as an ArcGIS shapefile, and that can be imported into Arc Explorer or KML if you're using Google Maps or Google Earth. And anyway, several other file types here, but set it to GPX because we're just going to keep it in that format. Anyway, let's cancel. Let's get out of that. And now we go to Arc Explorer, and we go to Add Content, and we go to GPS data file, and it tells you it's the GPX exchange format, GPS exchange format. And then we have to navigate to, and I've got it in recent places, I hope, GPS. And so there's the file I saved, Durkee all points. And so highlight that, open. And it's not waypoints, it's not a route, it's tracks. And we want to draw the track or route, well, we want to draw the track waypoints, the individual little points, and we want to add it to the surface. If you have an elevation component of your track log, it'll draw that elevation, but we just want it on the surface. And then add. And there we go. It draws a line in connecting each individual waypoint according to the timestamp on the file. Here, let's go back and show you that. So it gives you the current track date identity. That's the date you saved it. But in fact, if you scroll over here, it gives you the time in universal time, but it also gives you the local time. And so you want to, so each point, and in this case it's at 30-second intervals, has a date stamp. And so when it's looking to create a line, it goes point to point according to the date stamp. And you can see it causes kind of a problem here. It's not a spaghetti mess, but when you end your track on one day and then you go somewhere else, in this case up to Twainhart, and then you start recording there, it creates a line between those 2 points because it goes to the last point you created to the first one you're creating here. So if you crisscross a lot, that just gets confusing. It's not hugely critical, but still, it's probably more than you want. And this is where DNR Garmin comes into place. You can lightly edit your content here. All you can do is, so for instance, you have a lot of individual points there. I'm trying to focus in on it a little bit. You can get rid of those flags, and so for instance, you can either get rid of the flags entirely, the points, and just look at the line, or you can change the, so I'm highlighting the first one, and then going way down here, and shift key, highlighting the last one, then right click, and go to symbol, and scroll down here. I'm just going to look for a little dot or something like that. We don't want the pin. We'll just make a little orange sphere. There we go. So that's a little more manageable aesthetically. And you can still get rid of them, and let's do that for the moment. So we're just looking at the line. But again, these lines, these straight lines come in and kind of confuse the whole look of the thing. And unfortunately, you can get rid of individual points, but that won't change how that line is drawn. So if you want a cleaner map, the solution, so let's say you just exported or you just pulled out your GPX file straight out of the folder, because, so here, let's show that here. So I'm connected to the, hang on, helps it coming. There we go. So I'm connected to the Garmin, and you can, wrong folder. Try that again. Okay, the other folder's not coming up. So in any event, when you open your Garmin or any whether it's your cell phone or whatever, you connect to a USB and you connect just to a regular folder on your drive, and so then you drill down and you look for the GPX file, and you can just drag that over. And I was hoping that, let's go here. No, oh, here it is. Once again, I'm a professional. Don't worry about a thing. So notice there'll be two. There'll be one for the SD card in your Garmin, and there'll be one for the main memory of the Garmin where your files are stored. And here, let's go to GPX. And in this case, we have a whole folder for current. And so that's what I ended up downloading. And notice that, excuse me, notice the name is current GPX. So you could just drag that into your GPS folder on your GIS data folder set. And then you'd want to name it something meaningful, like the date and what's in it. But as I said, as you saw, I put it into DNR GPS. Okay, so now what I'm going to do is I'm just going to download, let's just download for all of the tracks I made on the 8th of July 2015. And so then we carefully scroll down. Oh, there we go. And then with the shift key, oops, with the shift key, okay, now we're going to go up. Holding the shift key down. Okay, this is not going well. Don't you guys worry about a thing. There we go. Okay, so I've highlighted all of the individual points I made on 7.8. Oh, no, I didn't. Well, let's just take those anyway. And now I'm just going to save those just from one day. We're going to save it to a file. And we're going to, we know these are in Tuolumne County. Let's give it a different date. It's the 9th. And let's put my name on there too, because you always want to know. And Tuolumne County and then points. Okay, let's save it as a GPX. Notice it's GIS data. I've made a Twain Harte folder, and then I've put a GPS folder in that to save all my GPS files. Once again, tracks, and okay, and okay. And while we're here, let's just show you something else you can do. You can save it as a shapefile. So we save it to either ArcMap or file, and then you save it as a 2D shape file, SHP. Now that's the native geospatial file for ArcGIS products, S3 products. And I'll show you what it does here in a moment here. Let's, I'm just gonna highlight. We're gonna make this, we'll save the lines first. Oops. 09. Okay, so I'm going to notice I've added the extension LN for line here. I'm going to save it as a line first, and that's where it connects. And the dialog box comes up, giving you the option to save it as lines or points, or a couple other choices that we're not going to get into. So right now I'm going to save it as a line where it's connecting, as I said earlier, each point according to its timestamp, and then OK. And it's saved successfully. And now let's do that again, because it's always a good idea to save the points as well. And we're going to save those in a shapefile. Points. Well, just change the date again. 9 and points. Okay, Tuolumne points. Save that. And we're going to save this as points. I'll show you what all that means in a moment here. Okay, back to ArcExplorer. Go to add content. Let's, well, yeah, keep that. Add content. And now we're adding shapefiles. And let's add the points first. So notice it shows the span. There's one point down here, and there's a bunch up here. And once again, you can go through and get rid of the pins there, which are kind of distracting. Or we can, let's just get rid of everything here. Or we can add just the line, shapefile, and line. So what I'm getting at here is that you can edit this part of the spaghetti mess. See, I didn't narrow it down enough. I should have fiddled around until I found, say, just this section of individual points. And when I was in here in DNR GPS, I should have just saved those. So you'll have to fiddle around with that to get that right. And then finally, let's just do the GPS points that I saved. And that'll be a GPX file. And yeah, I guess it's that one, the 9th, Tuolumne County, okay. And it's, and there we go. So we did the same thing. So what we ideally wanted to have done is get rid of this point here so we don't have that entire line. And you can actually click on it, and so you can see that this gives you the date stamp and the time, 1720. 48, that's Zulu, so you're not looking for the local time, but you want to get rid of that point, and then it won't draw that big long line there. So it's a matter of only eliminating 1 point from the DNR file set there. And that's the disadvantage. In ArcGIS 10, you can actually edit the points. You can cut that line and delete it. But with ArcExplorer, you can't do that. But even then, you know, it's not a huge problem. You can maybe live with that if you wanted. Okay, now next on our exciting cruise here, let's look at geotagged photos. And I took some photos just the other day, and I put them, of course, in my photos folder. And when you take a photo with modern smartphones, you have the option to activate the GPS so that it puts a location, GPS location, into the header of the photo. It's not something you can see in the photo, of course, but you can actually see it in the properties dialog box. And there's two ways of getting to the properties to see if your photos include the lat long. So you right click and you go to properties, and then details. And this gives you things like the date it was taken, the number of pixels, sometimes whether flash was used, what device it was taken on, et cetera, et cetera, et cetera. And you scroll down and you can see that under GPS it has lat long and even an altitude. So just cancel that. And the other way is to actually bring up the photo and go over here to properties, and you get the same information. So that photo there, I'm able to drag onto the map and locate it. So let's do that. So we go back to add content, and we go to down here to geotagged photographs, pretty straightforward. And we go to our photo folder, and we just choose one at random here, open. And it automatically zooms to where the photo is placed. So there we are, the old golf course at Tweenhart. And let's click on it. Let's click on it, I say. Hang on, help's coming. I'm trying to, there we go. Okay, we're saved. I had to zoom in a little more, and then you get the photo enlarged, and otherwise it's a small icon. And you can actually, you can change the symbol of the photo. So right now, it's symbolized, and you can lock this in place and put it over here. But you can actually notice that it's got a little thumbnail, not even a thumbnail, but you can right click and you can go to symbols. You can actually change that from the symbol to, I was hoping it had a little camera symbol or something like that, but let's give it just give it a random police station. So notice it changes the symbol to whatever you need. There's ways to import different symbol sets into ArcExplorer. It comes with one, but you might want more. That's something you can look up in the help file. And so what I had done here, let's go to GPS data file again and go to GPS. And so I had downloaded, I'd taken a walk and taken photos on the way. and recorded it all with on a GPX. So notice that recorded the entire route. Let's get rid of, well, zoom in. And I took a photo. Let's throw in one of the other photos because we're having so much fun here. Back down to geotagged photos. Tween heart photos. Notice how semi-easy it is to navigate here when you have all of your folders, GPS and photos just right together here as you open different things. And of course it zooms way out. So I'm holding down the Shift key and then dragging with a left mouse click. Let's get rid of some of this assorted junk. Get rid of that. Get rid of that. So we have two images here and the golf course. Let's get rid of the flags. There we go. And so now we just have the route that I took that day. I took two photos. Okay, hang on here. So you got to wait till it's still before you zoom in. And notice how you get reasonably good satellite imagery with ARC. You got to go out a little bit. I was zoomed in too close, but that's pretty good imagery. Okay, so that's adding a GPS track and adding a geotagged photo using ArcGIS Explorer. And in Canvas, I will upload a couple of example photos, geotagged photos, as well as this, as well as two GPX tracks, and you can fiddle around with them. And I will also post the link that will take you to DNR GPS, but just look it up online to Google, of course, and look for DNR GPS, and it's a free download, as I said. And you don't absolutely need it, but I've found it to be a pretty handy utility for manipulating GPS files. And then also, as I said, I'll post. I think I did post already one Android app that works with with an Android phone anyway. I'm not sure what's out there for iPhones. Okay, well, thanks, and more videos to come.